All right. Can I retire at 60 with $280,000 saved for retirement? That's what Barbara wanted to know when she visited with me last month. And let me show you this. So this is Barbara Simpson right here. So you can see her there. We've got $282,000 right there. And as you can see with the red line right here, she's running out of money at 71 years old. So the question becomes, what do we do for Barbara? Is there a way that, one, she can retire at 60 and elongate her money so that it does not run out at 71 years old? Or are there things that she has to do, maybe compromise on? Will she have to work a little bit longer? Will she have to work part-time? When should Barbara claim Social Security benefits? Do Roth conversions and withdrawal orders matter? That's what we're going to look at today on the Your Financial EKG YouTube channel and live stream today, live streaming to LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, all three at the same time for the first time. Normally we just do this on YouTube. So excited to go through this. Let's get some data on here. Listen, if you're joining us wherever you're at, leave it in the comment section. Where are you from? I want to know the state that you're from, maybe the city if you want to put that in there. I also want to know, who are you pulling for this college football season, or who are you pulling for to win the World Series this year? All right. Let's go through Barbara's information here. And listen, if you've got questions, put those in the comment section too. We'll try to get to those as we go through this as well. So we've got Barbara. Now, Barbara works at a bank. So she's a loan officer at a bank. Her current gross annual salary is $65,000 a year. Now, we're looking at retiring in January of 2026. So we're looking at retiring in the next 5 months. So October, November, December, January, 4 months actually. It was 5 months. Now it's 4 months. So we're looking at retiring in January of 2026. Now, we have to understand that if we're going to retire in January of 2026, she's going to be 60 in 6 months. What's one of the first things that you're thinking about if you're retiring before the age of 65? Health insurance. So the first conversation question that Barbara and I are having is, hey, Barbara, you retire at 60 in 6 months. One, how's your health? How often do you go to the doctor? Not that I listen, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical person, but like, how often do you go? Are you on any kind of medication? How much does that medication cost? Are you going to need to go on Cobra for a while? Can we go on the exchange? What about subsidies? So when we're thinking about when can I retire, it's not always, I've got this amount saved, I need to spend this much, how long is it going to last? There's a lot of other qualifiers in that question, like, what's my health insurance going to be? How much in taxes am I going to pay? What about inflation? Where am I going to live? I just got off the phone with a gal in Knoxville, Tennessee, and she was telling me, she said, hey, I received an inheritance. I'd like to downsize, but here's the problem with downsizing. The house I currently live in is too big for what I want to take care of, but a downsizing actually costs more than what I live in. And so there's a lot of factors that go into this when you're planning your retirement. So we've got Barbara, $65,000. Now, if we're looking at Social Security for Barbara and we're going to take it at 67, she would get $2,114 at age 67. Now, we've got to put COLAs in there. We got to put future values on that as time goes on. But keep in mind, if you were born in the year 1960 or after, and you claim Social Security at 62, you're going to get 70% of your full retirement benefit. Now, if you claim at 63, 64, 65, 66, you're going to get an increased benefit. But at 67, you get 100% of your full retirement benefit. Now, ages 68, 69, and 70, those are step up as well, 8% per year, until at age 70, you'd get 124% of your full retirement benefit. I call those people overachievers broccoli eaters, right? Now, so for Barbara, claiming at 67, she'd get $2,114. But what if she wanted to claim earlier than that? Well, if she claimed at 62, she could get $1,480 a month. Okay, now let's go to Social Security's website. And this is ssa.gov. And you can see if you were born in the year 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. Now, I like to show this chart on a lot of my videos, but what I really want to point out here is not just age 62 or age 67, which is right here, 100%. So I don't really want, I'm not worried about those two. What I want to look at for Barbara and for you when you're claiming your Social Security is, here's age 62, 70% of your full retirement benefit. Do you see that? Okay, now, what if we go to 63? What is that? 75%. So what's the difference between 62 and 63? It's 5%. That's a big deal. Have you ever got a 5% discount at the grocery store, or a 10% discount at the grocery store? Or I was at Marshall's over the weekend, and that place is awesome. The discounts that you get there for clothes or for we bought flower pots at Marshall's because they were so inexpensive compared to a store up here called Flowerland, which is like, whoo, Cashland is what they should call it. But do you see the difference between 62 and 63? How there's that 5%? That 5% is a big deal, especially with cost of living, especially with inflation. Now, think about this. 63 to 64 is what? 80%. So the difference between claiming at 64 and 62 is 10%. So it's not always, okay, I'm going to claim at 62. Oh, no, I'm going to claim at 67. Oh, no, I'm going to claim at 70. It's, okay, what's optimal for you? And we're going to get to that with Barbara. But I want you to see how it makes a difference. She would be 60 in 6 months, which would put her, she's going to retire at 60 in 6 months, but maybe you retire at, let's say, 62 in 8 months. Well, if you claim Social Security, it's 73.3%, not 70%. Do you see that? Do you see what we're working with here? Okay, let me go over here to the comments. Hey, Plain City, Ohio. Mary says, "Go Bucks." I see you got the little Cincinnati Reds thing there too. I've been to Great American Ballpark a few times. I love Great American Ballpark. That's a great place. Reno, Nevada. Reno's cool. I've never been to Reno. Been to Vegas once. That's all I need to go to. I don't need to go to Vegas anymore. That was it. Hello, Drew. Go Yankees and Cowboys. I knew you Fast Eddie would show up. Yankees, Cowboys. You should probably, who's the hockey team that's the best out there, right? That's what you got to pick all the best. Duke. Aren't you a Carolina fan or a Duke fan too? But thank you guys for being on the chat. Tell me where you're from, what state you live in, who's your college football team, who you pulling for, in baseball. And if you have any questions, put that in the comment section. Let's go through those together. So Barbara's going to claim at 67. Now, here's the thing. No pensions. We ain't got no pensions. Okay? No pensions for Barbara. Let's go to assets. Oh, here we go. Got some more comments. Let's see where people, hey, great live show to come. Thanks. Ducks, the Bruins, and the Duke, the Bruins, and Ice. I knew it would. Midwest here. Lyle says Brewers. Ooh, I don't know if I can go with you, Lyle. I grew up a Cubs fan. If you see some of my videos, I have Ryan Sandberg hanging on my wall. So Brewers, Cubs. I'm a Rays, Tampa Bay Rays, and Chicago Cubs guy, which was interesting this weekend because they played each other. So that was a little tougher. But I'm pulling for the Cubs because the Rays are out. They ain't gonna make the playoffs. David says go Cyclones. Iowa State. Oh, hey Kara. Thanks for being here. Okay. So asset-wise, here's where Barbara's assets are sitting, okay? We've got a bank account, $10,000 in her bank account. We've got a Fidelity money market account, okay? This is outside of an IRA. It's kind of a brokerage account, money market, okay? There's $12,000 in that. We've got a 401k at the bank, okay? $60,000, and she's contributing $542 on a monthly basis, and there's a match. We'll come back to that. Okay. We have a Fidelity rollover IRA. So this is outside of her 401k from a previous job. Okay. So she worked at a previous job before working at the bank. She had a 401k at that previous job. She was not 55 years or older when she left that old job. So she rolled that old 401k into an IRA, which would be my recommendation for the most part if you are under the age of 55. Okay, well, and I'll explain why at age 55. But if you're under the age of 55 and you retire, or I'm sorry, not retire, if you switch jobs, or if you retire, but if you switch jobs, it makes a lot of sense to move that money out of the old 401k and into an IRA. Now, as a fiduciary, make sure you talk to your investment advisor, your CPA, whoever, some licensed person. But in generalities, it makes a lot of sense to roll out the 401k into an IRA or Roth IRA, depending on if you have pre-tax or post-tax money, because you'll have more options inside of that IRA versus the 401k. Now, a lot of 401ks are coming around to where you can have brokerage links and investing outside of the 401k and multiple different stocks and ETFs. And a lot of 401ks have great options. But for the most part, if you are 49 years old, rolling it into an IRA gives you some great options to invest your money and allocate that money. Now, if you are 55 years or older and you lose your job, do not roll over your 401k. And here's the reason why. Not yet. Because you can use the rule of 55 as long as your plan admin allows you to. Or the plan, not the admin, but the plan itself. And the admin is who kind of monitors that and puts it into play. The rule of 55 says this: if you are aged 55 years or older and you are fired, you leave your job, you're terminated, or you retire, you can use your current 401k for retirement income without paying a penalty. Now, you'll pay taxes on that money if it's pre-tax, but you won't pay taxes if it's post-tax. So it's really important to understand, where am I at in my retirement journey with my assets? Do I roll my 401k? Do I leave my 401k? What exactly do I do here? Okay. So she had a 401k pre-55 and a half, or pre-55. Man, all these halves. I wish they would get rid of like the half things. They did get rid of the 70 and a half for RMDs. Thank the Lord. So now it's 73 or 75, depending on when you're born. But 55, 59 and a half. Why can't they just say 59? Or why can't we just say 60? I don't know. Like, who was like in Congress, like, you know what? A really good age to make people take their money before, to hurt people if they take money out of their 401k is 59 and a half. And how you calculate that, I have no idea. Okay. We also have a Schwab traditional IRA of $22,500. So if you look at this, we have various different assets that Barbara has that she can use for her retirement. $274,000 right now. By the time she retires, it'll be about $282,000, which will be what we're talking about on this video. Okay. Now let's go over here. We got a couple questions. Hensley says this: single dad hoping to retire 7 years at 62, a bit more saved than Barbara. In your opinion, is retiring with your kids still in college a mistake? So Hensley, I think it depends. First of all, it depends on how your kid's paying for college. Do you have 529 plans? Are you in some sort of college prepay plan? Like, are you the person paying for college? I have a client right now in the state of Mississippi. Her daughter went to Southern Miss. And so we calculated in, she left her job at age 60. We knew we had 2 years of college to pay for. And so we added that into the EKG, Hensley, into this section up here called cash flows. And we made sure that for her, it wasn't going to hurt the how long her money lasted. Because in that case, I'd be like, all right, daughter, either you got to work, or like the client's got to work, or the daughter's got to find more, money from somewhere. And so I don't think it's necessarily a mistake. I think it's an individualized approach. But thanks for the question. Beth, what was all these Columbus, Ohio? I got all these Buckeye fans. What's y'all doing, Buckeyes? I'm driving through Ohio here in a few weeks. I'm going to see what's going on up there. Mark says this, hey, Drew, age 59, at age 59, once we are debt-free, does it make sense to roll over 2 years expenses at age 60 to a Roth IRA and eat the tax burden at that our tax bracket is 24%. Okay, let me read that one more time slowly. Mark, I'm from Kentucky, and so I have to talk slow. Age 59, once we are debt-free, does it make sense to roll over 2 years expenses? Oh, I see what you're saying. At age 60, Roth IRA. I do believe that Roth conversions make a huge, they're a big deal. I think they're huge. And here's the reason why I think Roth conversions, let me stop sharing this for a second. Let me tell you why Roth conversions are huge. And we're going to get into it with Barbara. We'll show you some Roth conversions for her. So taxes right now are great. Now, I've recorded some videos in the past that we talk about taxes changing in 2026. Everybody's like, Trump passed the big, beautiful bill, Drew. I'm like, I know, but when I'm recording a video, I don't know what they're doing in DC yet. But taxes are low currently, right? Well, you go to the national debt clock. Let me see if I can do this real quick. National debt clock. All right, here, is this it? Okay, let me show you this. So this is the national debt clock, right? The numbers aren't going down. 37 billion, right? Is it no, it's trillion. This is billion, million. 37,484. Okay, I'll just leave that there. So that's our national debt. Now, here's our largest budget items. Okay, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, defense, right? And then interest on the debt. Those are our biggest items. Okay, so here's our total U.S. debt, unfunded debt and interest. What is that? See that number? That's a lot of money. So here's what I'm saying with Roth, and I'm just going to leave this here just for a second. Hopefully it doesn't make you sick to your stomach, okay? Roth conversions. Right now taxes are low, and I know that we bring it in tariff money and businesses there's companies that are influxing money into America and stuff, but taxes are going to go up. And I don't care if we resurrect Ronald Reagan from the dead or whatever, taxes will go up, right? And so if taxes go up, if we're 60 and we've got 3 years of the taxes where they're at, let's just say 3 years, 4 years. And then what if, Shapiro, the PA guy, governor, wins the presidency and the House and the Senate go to Democrats? And again, this is not political in any form or fashion. I'm just talking in generalities. Then the first thing they're going to go after is taxes, because that's, again, it's just ideological, right? Republican, Democrat, lower taxes, raising tax. And again, I'm not being political. If you know me, if you talk to me at all, I'm right down the middle. I'm just saying in general, taxes will probably go up. So we want to do conversions to try to bring our tax burden down over time, right? Again, I don't care who the president is. This national debt, this Medicare, total U.S. debt, we're going to have to raise taxes. And so there will be a tax increase down the road, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Whig, Independent, I don't know any of the other parties, Green Party, whoever's in office, taxes are going to have to go up. And that's an unfortunate thing. And now it doesn't necessarily have to be an income tax. They could, what did the Secure Act do? The Secure Act is a tax on your heirs. And you're like, oh, Drew, the estate tax is like $30 million. Yeah. But what about all that money in your IRA and your 401k that's pre-tax? What happens when you die? And let's say for Barbara, she's single, but let's say you're married. I'm Drew, wife's Val. If I die, Val gets all of the assets that are in my name. Okay. She dies, I get all the assets in her name. We're spouses. So we can do our IRAs just like it was each other. But when my kids get our IRAs, not Roth IRAs, our IRAs, and Roth IRAs are going to follow the same rule, but when they get our IRAs, the government says, hey, Drew's kids, you have to take out these IRAs in 10 years. And if your dad was over the age of 75, over required minimum distribution age, you have to take an RMD plus get this thing drained in 10 years. Now, what if I have a $5 million IRA or $2 million IRA or a $100,000 IRA and my kids are in their peak earning years and they have to pull money out of an IRA? What does that do? Boom, 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 boom. Taxes, taxes, taxes. You might be going through, they ain't going to raise the income tax, but they stealthily just did right there. And the Secure Act 1, Secure Act 2, that's a bipartisan thing. And the estate tax will probably be next, right? They'll bring that estate tax down eventually. And so we just got to be prepared for that. Now, Roth IRAs fall under the same rules, except they're tax-free. So that's why if you want to, you can try to get as much money to your Roth IRA as you possibly can. So let's go back to Barbara. Let's keep working through this. Keep working this together. Don't fret. Don't fret. All right, Barbara's got a home worth $400,000. Now, Barbara's in South Carolina. She's a Gamecock. She's down there. She's hurting today because Vanderbilt put a whipping on South Carolina. And we won't talk about that unless you're a Vandy fan. You leave that in the comment section. So she got a house for $400,000. Now, I want to go to cash flows real quick, and then we're going to come back to expenses. So she's got a house for $400,000. Now, she and her sister are both single, okay? Her sister lives with her and pays rent, $600 per month, okay, every month. No increase on that, just $600 every month. So for Barbara, she understands that she's going to get, or she understands that she has lesser assets, and her sister does as well, in the sense of if she wants to retire sooner. And so they decided to move in together. And I'm not saying this is a good or bad thing. I'm just saying this is what they did, and you can take it and you can use it for whatever you want to do. So she's getting $600 per month. It's not a pension. So if her sister passes, or if her sister decides to move back to Pennsylvania, which is where Barbara and her sister are from, or if Barbara's sister meets a hunk Sylvester Stallone and leaves, this is going to go away. It's not something that we're necessarily worried about happening, but we have this for life. But that's just something we have to keep in mind. That's why we do reviews, to make sure we're on the same track. Now let's look at expenses. So from an expense standpoint, we've got $1,695 in a mortgage payment, okay? We have baseline expenses of $1,300. Now, the reason I wanted to go to cash flows first to show the $600 coming in is because her baseline expenses are very, very low. Baseline expenses being food, gas, electrical, property taxes, insurances, things like that. Okay, like when you're 90, you're still going to have to pay your baseline expenses. Hers are lower because she's getting that $600. Okay, and they share a lot of expenses. Like we don't show in that $600, like they share food bills and they share gas bills, like driving and stuff like that. So the costs are less because they're not married, so it's not joint. So they're sharing. Here's family, visiting family in Pennsylvania, about $85 a month. She goes up there and stays with her brother. She's not a big traveler. Barbara's not a big traveler. Health insurance. If she retires, we're looking at $400 per month. Now, this is what we were projecting out before the subsidy thing. Now, depending on what happens, again, this video, I want it to be something that people can watch 10 years from now, but there is a budget shutdown coming up. And Democrats they're saying, hey, listen, we're going to let the government shut down unless you bring the subsidies back in, which the big, beautiful bill took out. So that's something we've got to watch, is what's going to happen with subsidies for health insurance down the road. So we're going on the basis of just this $400 a month. Again, we're going to keep her income low so she'll have some subsidy from the healthcare exchange, but we might have to bump this up. And that's something we need to be watching out for. Okay. So current expenses are $3,085. Average inflation rate is 1.47. Now, inflation is something I talk about on this channel a lot because I don't think we actually understand what inflation can do to our dollar. I love to tell the story about when I used to buy a vanilla Coke in high school, right? I drove an old F-150 in high school, and I would drive to the gas station, And I think there was this place called, you could get a Big General. I don't remember what that gas station was called in Kentucky, but you get like a Big General, like one of those like big old 7-Eleven cups for like 50 cents full of soda, which definitely just probably killed a ton of people. But I would get a vanilla Coke. I would reach into my ashtray and get out change because I didn't smoke, never smoked. So I just reached into my ashtray. My ashtray, I don't even think they have ashtrays in cars anymore, but my ashtray was my change drawer, right? Reach in there, grab some change, and go buy a Coke. Well, now I literally was in a gas station just to like today, and I think a Coke, they don't have vanilla Coke anymore, but a 20-ounce Coke was like $2.33. And I was like, whew, I used to get it for like 60. Now I sound like an old man too, because I'm like, all right, you're back in ours in my day. But that's inflation. So a really good, I like NerdWallet. It's the cool inflation calculator that they have. So let's just say, let's go back to when I was in high school. And so that was like what? Let's say 2004. I was a senior and I bought something for $1. Okay. Then I purchased the same item today. Oop. How much would that item cost? Calculate. Okay, due to inflation, that same item would cost $1.69. Okay, 69 cents. Not a big deal on $1. Okay, now let's go to today. 2025. And let's say you bought something for $1,000. And you need to purchase that same thing in 2030. Okay. Now we're up $131. And that's just using the CPI reading. Right? Let's 2.5%. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's kind of tight. There you go. 2.5%. Okay. That's inflation. Now, let's go back over here. Let's look at the inflation history. So this is 1914 since they've been keeping up with inflation. So it's the same thing NerdWallet said, right? Kind of like 1913 to the latest full calendar year. Okay, so 1914 to 2024. We don't have 25 yet, right? Inflation, 111-year average, 3.26. From 1914 to 2025, 3.26%. Current 10-year average is running at 3. Now you can see how various years you have various inflation rates. So see, if you retired in 2020, inflation for 2021, 7, 2022, 6.5, 2023, 3.45. You have some heavy inflation right there. What if you retired in the 70s? Look at this. 8, 12, 6, 4, 6, 9, 13, 12, 8. Like, well, Drew, that ain't going to happen. The inflation's not going to be like that. I mean, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying what happens if, right? See, you have two types of sequence of return risk. You have investment sequence of return risk. So sequence of return risk is the risk that you step into retirement and your investments go down in the first few years of your retirement. So you have $100,000. Say you have $1 million saved for retirement, $500,000 saved for retirement. Let's use $1 million because I use the round numbers. Market falls 10%. Okay, now you're down $100,000. So you're $900,000. The next year the market falls again. Now you're at 820 or whatever. That's sequence of return risk. The reverse of that, I call it reverse sequence of return risk. Reverse sequence of return risk is inflation on your dollar. So it's not on your investments per se, right? Because the market at the recording of this, we had an all-time high. But the dollar, the inflation is, right? Inflation came out hot last month. So reverse sequence of return risk is that you go into retirement and things cost more than you expected. And now you're spending more than you expected at the beginning of your retirement, which means you're pulling more from your retirement assets or starting Social Security earlier than you expected. Something to think about. Okay. Deanne. Where's Deanne? Go Bills. Go Bills. Lyle, monthly expenses are, I'll give you the answer there, $3,085. It'll jump up when she retires, though. You see this extra $400 here we got? It's going to go to 30, let's say $3,500. Because that's going to be, now again, single gal, South Carolina, low cost of living, sister lives with her. but we're adding in health insurance, so that's going to go up. Okay. Remember, we're out. If you joined us late, we're out at 71. At 71 years old, we're out of money. So we got to keep going through this. We got to get past 71. Okay. Mo says, worried about how much my roof is going to cost in 15 years. I don't know, man. Got to do some calculations on that. So my grandma just replaced her roof. I think it was 23 grand. And she's in 2-2 in Clearwater. Let's see. It was, let's say 23,000. Mo, you said what? 15 years? 15 years. 2040. Calculate. 33,310. So that's something, Mo, we want to put on the EKG and say in the cash flow section, let's look at that. Now, again, we can't predict that, but we can at least put it on there and have a plan for it. Okay. Now, listen, if you want a financial EKG, you want to meet with us, go to the description below. We'd love to meet with you. Or in the comment section, I got a copy of my book. You can download it. It's called Can I Really Retire? Can I Really Retire? It's an easy read. It's not John Grisham, but there's a good looking dude on the back of that. Oh, wait, look at that. That's me. You can get the first few copies of that, or you can go on Amazon and get that. All right, let's keep going through here. So we got Barb. Now, from a pre-retirement standpoint, so this is just the next few months. Here's where we're at. Barbara's age is 60. Her gross monthly salary is $5,416. That's gross. We got $758 a monthly contribution. So we have the 401k and we got the employer match. Now, that 217 is not coming out of her money. That 217 is coming from her employer, coming from the bank. Okay. Here's our net monthly income. So salary, cash flow, that's the money coming in from the sister, 401k, taxes, Social Security, Medicare. So there's FICA, Mr. Fed, 4575. Now, what we can do, if you are 1099, we can add that in here. Okay. We can also add any kind of special deduction. So if you have accidental death and dismemberment coming out of your plan, if you have life insurance coming out of your check, if you have kids' life insurance, whatever, we can stock purchases. We can put that all in here to get a good round number. Okay. Net monthly cash flow, $1,400. So when I talked to Barbara, I said, hey, Barbara, do you have a positive cash flow? Do you feel like you're saving money each month? Or do you feel like you're breaking even? Or is there more month than money? And she said, I feel like I'm saving. And I said, well, you didn't tell me if you were adding anything extra to your assets over here. And she said, well, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, sometimes I spend that money. So here's what human nature tells us. And I'm not necessarily a psychologist, but human nature tells us if we have extra money, not a bad thing, we're going to enjoy life with it, which I'm all for. Go bowling, go play softball, pickleball, go to a ball game, do whatever you want to do. But for Barbara, we got this red line here and we see some green here. So one of the things that we talk about, and again, we'll get to this, we're going to solve this problem for her before 3:30 Eastern time. Okay. Do we need to work a little longer? Do we need to claim Social Security at a different age? Those are the first two things we talked about. Can we increase our contributions somewhere and maybe increase the amount of money we have saved? Now it's only the next 4 months, so it's going to have to be in combination with some other things. What do we do? Okay. Now we go to retirement. John says, do you offer services for people living in Texas? God bless Texas. Yes, we do. We are licensed in Texas. Go to the description below, click on the link. We offer services in all 50 states, Guam, Puerto Rico. I think that's all we've talked to. I think Guam and Puerto Rico, all 50 states, and then Guam and Puerto Rico are the only two that we've talked to outside of the 50 United States. We don't offer services in Canada. I'm sorry, if you're Canadian, you got to find a Canadian financial advisor. I don't say A enough. Love my neighbors in the north, just don't offer services in Canada. But yes, Texas for sure. Did you know, John, just FYI, that Texas was its own nation before it was a state? Do you know any? There's no other states that were nations before they became states. Isn't that crazy? Just a little, just, you know, if you're in Jeopardy sometime, you can go that. All right, so here we go. We got Barbara, age 61. Here's our monthly cash flows. Here's Social Security. Boom, 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 boom. So we're taking zeros, goose eggs, from 2026 to 2032, drawing down our portfolio. So you see this? We're at 282 here. Where are we at? We're at 87,794 by the time we take Social Security. So 282, 853 minus 87,794. That's $195,000 that we draw out before we claim Social Security. Now, if you were to read Forbes or Google, when should I claim Social Security? And you didn't watch one of my videos, but you looked at Kiplinger or the Wall Street Journal or Susie Orman or whoever, they're going to say you should take it at 67, and it actually would be better for you to take it at 70. Well, if she takes it at 70, she's going to be out of money by the time she gets there, to be honest. Because taking it 67, she's out at 71. So the question becomes, do I take it earlier to retire sooner? Or to retire when I want to retire, right? Can we elongate this money? Now, I understand that there's a lot of things that we can't plan for in Barbara's life. And you might say, well, I've had people comment, oh, that's not a lot of money, $280,000. I go, well, to her, it's a ton of money. And it's hard work money. It's getting up Monday through Friday, dealing with people at the bank. She's worked in banking, dealing with people coming in, moaning and complaining. I could say another word for moaning and complaining, but I ain't going to say it on here. And she's worked hard to save that money. Now, would she love to have $2 million? Sure, but she doesn't. And because she doesn't have $2 million, should she be penalized for that? No. And because she doesn't have $2 million, should I sit here and should I tell her she can't retire and she just needs to keep working for the rest of her life to save as much money as possible? No. We need to figure out a plan to help her retire. And we let the dice fall where they may, right? We got to have a plan. The main thing in all of this is having a plan. And that's what we're looking for. She's been working hard. And she wants to retire or slow down. I love what Proverbs 15:22 says. It says this: plans go wrong for lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. That's what we're trying to do. Trying to bring some advice. Proverbs 11:14 says this: without good direction, people lose their way. The more wise counsel you follow, the better your chances. So we're trying to give her some wise counsel here. Okay? All right, so let's do some digging here. Let's get into this and let's say, what do we need to do to get this money to last longer? Understanding that she's probably not going to live till she's 100. Average mortality is, 78, 79 in America right now. So we need to look at how long do we want this to last. So let's go back. Let me take this off here real quick. Let's do some adjusting. First thing I want to adjust is when she wants to claim Social Security. So I think that's going to be the critical decision for Barbara. Right now, we got her claiming at 67. If you claim Social Security at 67, you'll get 100% of your full retirement benefit. She's looking at claiming at 67. But if we retire with $282,000, if we claim at 67, she's only going to have about $87,000 left. So we don't want to do that. So we go to the software and we say, what is the optimal time to claim Social Security? So the software says age 62, which would be $1,480. Remember, if she claims at 62, she's going to get 70% of her full retirement benefit. So the software says claim at 62, which is 70% of her full retirement benefit. Now, she could claim at 63, 64, 65, 66, but I'm just looking at what the software says. We come down here, look at the adjustment. She goes from running out of money at 71 to running out of money at 76. So that's why if I recorded this video I might say, can I retire at 60 with $280,000? And should you claim Social Security early? Because in her case, based on her expenses and based on her retirement date, claiming at 62 makes the most sense. Okay, so let's go back. So that's the first thing that we need to do. It doesn't get her into her 80s. I'd like to get her into her 80s if possible. But it does get her to 62. So let's change this to claiming at 62. Okay, now we're going to claim Social Security at 62. The next question becomes, are there any expenses that we can lower to help elongate this money, to help push this money out to her 90s and 100? I don't think so. The mortgage has to be paid until 2049. Her baseline has to be paid. Like that's light bill, streaming bill, food. Like she got to eat, right? I guess she could have a garden, but you still got to buy the seeds and all that stuff, right? Got to buy dirt. I just bought some black cow for my garden. My apple trees needed some black cow. So I put some, if you don't know what black cow is, then you don't dig in the dirt very much. She's not really a big traveler. And her health insurance, that's the only thing that we can't get rid of this stuff, right? And this is something that the health insurance is going to be forever. You might see right here, I don't end health insurance. You're like, well, Drew, she's going to be 65, in 5 years. I go, well, she's going to go on Medicare. And she's going to have two options. She's going to have a Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage plan. And for me, I prefer the supplement because it covers more. So we're going to plan out this health insurance premium for the rest of her life. Okay. Susie told me 8 million, shaking my head. Teddy says another dumb article. I don't know who Teddy is, but are you talking about the article, the video? Or are you talking about the article I showed? I don't know about showing an article, Teddy. So anyway, what are we going to do? Okay. Do we work longer? I know I hate it when you hate it when I say that. So we can't change our expenses. Is there something else we can change? Well, remember, we went to pre-retirement and she had this $1,400 a month green, right? Meaning her income and her expenses, she had $1,400 left over at the end of each month, right? So can we take this money and can we put some of that over here? So let's go to her 401k. So currently she's contributing 10% to her 401k. High five, chest bump, right? If you're retired, I'm sorry. I got to take somebody out of here. All right, sorry. Had to remove somebody from the comment section. If you're not nice, if you're saying things that aren't nice, you got to go. I'm sorry. All right, so for Barbara, she's contributing 10% to her 401k. So if you're wanting to save for retirement, you want to put 10 to 15% of your pre-tax money into your retirement vehicles. Easy round numbers. If you make $100,000 a year, you want to put $10,000 to $15,000 every year into your 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, brokerage account, combination of accounts, okay, into those accounts. Now, she has a match of 4%, which is awesome. She's putting in 10, she's getting a 4, that's 14. What I want Barbara to do, and I want you to do, is to act like the match doesn't exist. Like I want you to put in enough to get the match. But when you're talking about, do I put in 10, 15%, think about like the match doesn't exist. And just the match will be gravy on top of your mashed taters, right? Just let that kind of come in as mashed potatoes or gravy on top of your taters, right? So for her, maybe we increase this a little bit. Now, here's the thing. If we had some running room on Barbara, so let's say she was 50, not 60. And I said, hey, Barbara, you got this, green, you got this excess money each month based on your income and your expenses. Can we contribute more to your IRA or your Roth, your 401k, or your freedom fund, which I call your brokerage account? Could we do that? And if she said, oh yeah, I want to do that right away. And I would say, okay, how much? She might go, well, I want to do 10%. I go, whoa, let's back up here. Let's dip our toe in. You're already doing 10%, which is great. Let's do the 1% rule. The 1% rule says this: take 1% and increase that into your 401k, your IRA, your Roth IRA. See how that feels, and then increase another 1%. So you don't have to jump into the pool, right, and risk doing a belly flop. You can just kind of like slide in, and you get the water to your ankles. You get used to that. Then you get your water to the knees, and you're like, oh, that feels good. And then you get your water to your butt, and you're like, oh, it's even better now. And then you get your chest. Okay, 1%. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. So for her, we're retiring in like 4 months. So we don't have that ability. So we need to increase these contributions rather quickly. So let's do it 15%. So now we save and close. We go back to pre-retirement. See, that brought that down about $200. So that's 15%. That's really good. Right now she's contributing 15%. It didn't move our needle much. We're still running out at 76. But over here, we're bringing down this rate of return, and we're bringing down how much money she needs to come into the plan. Jeff said Green Valley, Missouri. Ooh, I like you caught a fish there. Welcome, Missouri. Missouri. Fast Eddie part-time job. We're going to get to that. We're going to show that here in just a second. Okay. Now, the difference with Barbara, Fast Eddie, is she likes her job. It's not a bad job. She just wants to start to, she's had some personal things happen where she's like, you know what? I just see that life is delicate, right? I think we can all look around and say life is short, and we need to, take this life as it's a vapor, right? It's gone here today, gone tomorrow. And so for her, she's like, I'm wanting to start enjoying some of these golden years. Okay. So we've increased our contribution. That's put us at 76. Now, the other option is, what if we lived off of this money here for a while and we did some Roth conversions on this money? Would that elongate? So let me go to the software real quick. Let's add in some Roth conversions. Let's see what this does. Start it now. Let's do it for live. Okay, Roth IRA. And if you have any questions, leave those in the comments. Would love to help. Okay, save. All right, perfect. All right, so let me show you what we did here. So now what we've done is we added in some Roth conversions. So we're going to do 15% of her 401k, her old 401k, and we're going to do a Roth conversion on that for life, basically till it's empty. So what that looks like is we're going to do it from an IRA to a Roth IRA just until it's empty. Okay. Okay. Does that help elongate anything? No, it doesn't. Doesn't do anything. Okay. Still not where we want to be. Okay. We're getting closer, but we're not where we want to be. So now we got to come back here, and it's got to be I got to ask the question that I hate to ask, right? Would you want to do one of two things? Would you want to work a little longer, or would you want to work part-time a little longer? And I know you don't like that. I ain't got no pixie dust. Okay. I don't have any magical powers, and I ain't Robin Williams. I'm not the genie in the bottle. So I can't magically make this plan work to 100. Now, here's the thing. From an asset allocation standpoint, we're looking at a 5% rate of return on this plan. Okay. That's what we're looking at the assets. But I realize that if you look at the S&P 500, even a conservative portfolio, if you look at a conservative portfolio over the last decade, 20 years, 30 years, has done really, really well. Let me see if I can show you that real quick. Okay, look at this. This is an S&P 500 chart from like 97. Okay. This is where we were back when Kentucky won the national. No, we lost to Arizona in 97 in the national championship. We did win it in 98, and we won it in 96. Okay. And we won in 2012 as well. And we're going to win in 2025, 26, just FYI. If you didn't know that, Kentucky Wildcats will win the national championship in 2025 and 2026. We will bring our 9th national championship back to Kentucky. Just FYI. I didn't know if you knew that. So this is where the S&P was. This is where we're at today. Okay. So we've made a ton of money. Now, this chart makes me feel a little uneasy when I look at it. But this is where we're at. So the market has returned really, really well. And people will tell me that in the comments section. You can just buy JEPQ, or you can just do this, and you can just do that. Does that make anybody nervous? Makes me a little nervous. But yes, the market has returned very well over the last decade or so, and the last 20 years, last 30 years, last 40 years. So we're being conservative with these assets. Now, Mo said his question was, can you make the returns to 7% to how long the money lasts? We'll do that. Just don't let me forget. I got 9 minutes. I'll do that, Mo. But let's look at the part-time. Let's look at working just a little longer for her. So let's say we work to age 62 exactly. So 62 and 0 months. So we're going to work till July of 2027, and then we're going to claim Social Security. We're going to do our Roth conversions, okay, right here. Still going to do our Roth conversions because we're working now. And we're going to look at contributing more to our accounts. Look at where we got us. Got us to 80 now. That's working an extra 2 years to your job. And the rate of return needed to avoid a shortfall dropped to 6.63%. We're getting closer. Again, it is not, you are not in a place where you'll never, people are like, well, I'm never going to be able to retire. I ain't got enough saved. Yes, you can. You will. And again, it's not just retirement sitting on your hands. There might be a retirement where you have to work part-time. People leave comments all the time. Retirement means I ain't working. You're going to die first. Because retirement is being refired into something else. You ain't retiring. You rehired into something else. You need to find something to get into. And I'm not saying you have to go make money to do that. You might have grandkids or a hobby or whatever. But retirement from your main job. Listen, I have a client. He worked for Chase Bank in tech. Super stressed. He said, I can't do this forever. He's like 47 years old. Can I make less money? Be less stressed, maybe work a little longer. He could. Fast Eddie, black cow's too heavy to lift all day. I've been lifting weights, Fast Eddie. I can get that black cow up. Mark says, we're retiring debt-free at $500K, saved at 60. Social Security for wife and I will be $3,700 a month. Making it happen. Make it happen, Mark. You got it. You can do it. Proud of you. Don't listen to Susie. Okay, so let's go back here. Now for her, one of the things I realized I didn't do, I need to move this to August 2027 because her health insurance isn't going to kick in. She's going to stay with the bank. Now, does that change anything? No, kept it at 80. Okay, no big deal there. So now we need to look at this and go, do we retire? Do we go a little longer? So let's see how long we need to work. First of all, full-time to get this into her 80s, long into her 80s. So let's say 65, that's Medicare age. That means we'll change Social Security to claiming at 65. Still doing our Roth conversions. Go back to expenses. Actually, let me see when she retires. July of 2030. So we go here. So this health insurance is going to be this of 2030. We go back to retirement. Look at that. She never runs out of money. At 100, we got $320,000. It's not bad. Now, I know that's working an extra 5 years. Now, she likes her job, but what if she doesn't like her job? Then that's something where we have to say, what about some part-time work? So let's go back to age 60. So you see how there's so many variables to this? So like for Barbara, this would be like case number 1, then there'd be case number 2, case number 3, and then we're able to monitor these. Barbara's a full-time client, so we're able to monitor this with her, to walk with her in this journey. Okay? So let's go to age 60. Change our expenses. So now we're going to need health insurance now. So 2026. So let's do some part-time work. So she's retired. Let's add in some part-time work. All right, so PT work. And this is if Barbara did not like her job. Okay. What do we need to earn? And how long do we need to work? So let's just say, let's do 20,000 a year to age 65. Now, what goes away from a part-time standpoint now, you got to keep in mind, this right here is going to go away. This contribution to her 401k, this ends because this is coming from the bank. So now we got to go back to pre-retirement. She's still at 80, even working part-time. Ooh, rate of return needed, avoid Warshaw. Too many sixes there. We need to get that away. See how she's actually having to pull money out of her accounts, working part-time. So now we're not able to contribute at all. So for her, the best option for her is not to work part-time. It's going to be working at her job, either 62, 65 to keep her health insurance benefit there, right? Let's just say 65. So this needs to go on at 2030. Okay. And that gets her with some cushion there. And the reason I like the cushion too is because let's say, and we won't get into this too much, but let's say Barbara needs some kind of care. She's in South Carolina. Okay. Here's homemaker services. Here's adult, assisted living. Here's nursing care. So let's just assume she needs home health aid, 5720. She needs that at 80. Let's say she needs 2 years of care before she passes away. She basically drains all her assets in care. Now she's single. We still have the house. Use those assets for care. But that's some of that fluff, right? Like roof, HVAC, new car. So there's a lot in this plan. That's why it's important to have a financial EKG. And if you want a financial EKG, go to the description below. Let's get together. There we go. It's technology. I'm trying to learn this new software. Okay, David says this. David says, question if time. Is it wise to take gains from brokerage account, pay the taxes, and pay down HELOC or mortgage leading up to retirement? So you're talking about capital gains. So capital gains tax is 0, 10, and 15% based on your income. I am a big believer in paying off the mortgage before you retire if you have the ability to. I have clients that the type of money that we have or the type of mortgage, the amount of assets or the amount of loan that we've got doesn't allow us to. But David, depending on the amount that you have, right, in your, like how much you have left and your brokerage account, you have to weigh the two, right? Let me show you Barbara's for a second. So from Barbara's, and I'll leave your question up here. So what you have to look at is, let's just use, in this case, Dave, she's got $409,000, right? So if the question is, do I take gains from our brokerage account, pay the taxes, and pay down the HELOC? One, you might not pay taxes on it, or you could, and we got to figure out what that is, whether it's 10 or 15% based on your income. 409,000 is how much she has in spendable assets. Let's say we need 100 of that to pay off our mortgage. So now we're starting this number at 309, right? But this here goes away. So how does that work in tandem? So that's just something, Dave, we'd have to work through on the EKG. But maybe that'll give you some firepower on an Excel spreadsheet or whatever you do. But yes, is it wise? Sure it is. But you definitely want to run the numbers. Definitely want to talk to your CPA and then do it in conjunction with an EKG. I mean, I'm a big believer in doing the financial EKG, some kind of financial plan in conjunction with your CPA, in conjunction with an estate attorney, in conjunction with your financial advisor. Those three things you need before you retire. working together on that. Okay. All right. I've got about 1 minute and then I'm going to go. So if there's any questions, leave those in the comment section. David says, thanks. Dave. Thanks for watching. I see you commenting a lot. I appreciate that. Any other questions? I don't think I have anything else that I want to go through. Fast Eddie says, did you have a turkey sandwich for lunch? What did I have for lunch today? I did not. I had, which is probably terrible for me, I had fried fish. So don't tell anybody I said that because it's terrible for my cholesterol. Mary says, thank you. Thank you for watching, Mary. I will forgive you for being a Cincinnati Reds fan. Hopefully De La Cruz does better for you next year. Love Cincinnati. Skyline Chili. Got to get the Reds back in the playoffs. Christina, I'm in Daytona. Thanks for watching, Christina. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. Check out the channel. If you need us, go to the description below. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.